You know what? I knew that there was something that just wasn't right about this little Clark County character. Hey everyone, it's Sharna from Pay or Wait, and it's our last time together talking about Atlanta. Oh my goodness. How do I say goodbye to Atlanta? Okay, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just so sad. But let's talk about this episode. There's a lot going on in this episode, so I'm gonna have to refer to my notes just to try to make sure that I don't miss anything. But let's start unpacking. So this is about Atlanta season 2, episode 11, Crabs in a Barrel, season 2 finale. Okay, and so the episode basically starts with Earn in this lift with this lady singing some gospel music, missing every single turn that this just GPS is telling her to do. And I've been always trying to understand when I'm in like my Uber or my Lyft, why they asking me like, do I go here? Do I go there? Can you just pay attention to your GPS? Isn't that why they make you use your GPS? Why you ask me all these questions? Just drive. If I wanted to tell you how to get somewhere, I would have just drove myself in the first place, okay? So I felt Earn's annoyance with this lady because you feel as though every time you get into an Uber or a Lyft in Atlanta, you're always stuck with that person who just moved to Atlanta and they're driving Uber or Lyft to try to figure out how to learn and know the city. So I felt his pain, okay? So Earn is with his child Lottie. They're on their way to for an appointment to meet with Al. They're trying to find an entertainment lawyer, and so they find this black guy, and basically, you know, he's kind of telling them, you know, a little bit about his background and what he does. He's telling them he's going to be like a 5% fee, you know, they get 5% of his earnings, and he was telling them about the clients that he managed, and he said he was managing some people from Love and Hip Hop, and that would have been my first red flag. No, nah, sorry. I'm gonna need somebody that's gonna have some real experience with some real artists. And then you saw that little bootleg advertising thing that he had outside the little billboard that he had. I was just like, I don't trust this. And I was with Al on this one, like, no. And you see, like, he tells Earn, like, hey, you know, why don't you find me a Jewish lawyer? And basically, you know, this is something that I struggle with because for me, I want to give back to my community. I want to support my own. So I try to find a black doctor, a black dentist, okay? I try to find black movers, which we're going to get into when we talk about why in the hell did Earn hire these people to move their stuff. But it comes to a point where you're always tasked with, like, do you support your own or do you go with someone who actually has the experience and the expertise to do what you need them to do? So this was the first instance where we see Al tell Earn, like, hey, just find me a Jewish lawyer, because everyone, you know, there's this whole stigma where everyone feels like Jewish people are just, they're more successful, they're about their business. You know, people always try to find a Jewish person to do something. I'm just trying to say that to not sound offensive, but this is the perception. This is how people think. And so, okay, so he's like, fine, whatever. So he's like, hey, I got to run another errand. Make sure you guys are ready. The mover's going to be there, because we find out that they're going on tour with Clark County, but Clark County is the headliner, and Al is going to be, he's going to be the person that like goes before him. So basically, Earn was like, well, you should be the one that's headlining the tour. And then Al was like, I know, but I'm not. So, like, what do you want to do? So you clearly see that there's tension between Earn and Al, because I thought that he fired him the last episode, but I guess not. So he just told him, like, hey, you know, I'm talking to Clark County's manager. So he was just putting him on notice that, hey, if I have any more slip up or whatever, like, you know what, we're going to be Xing you. Okay, so there's this unspoken tension, and we know that's why Earn is in his little feelings and stuff like that. And Al is basically annoyed with Earn. So then Earn goes to Lottie's school, and so he's meeting up with Van. They have an appointment with the teacher. The teacher asks to speak with them. So they're thinking like they're gonna tell them that they child bad or they child slow, but they were like prepared for the worst. And so the teacher basically tells them that Lottie is very advanced for her age. You know, she surpassed the classroom, and she feels that Lottie needs to go to a school that can give her the attention that she needs so she can thrive and excel. So they're like, whoa, I thought you was gonna tell me like my kid was pulling her hair out or eating or something. And so she's like, no, I just want to recommend to you that you put her in this private school. It's like the best school in the Southeast. And as soon as she said that, I was like, they ain't got no damn money. Van ain't got no job. Ern barely got a job. So how y'all gonna pay for this? And so of course Ern is like, hey, you know what, that's great. Like, let's look at that for when she goes to first grade. But in the meantime, is there anything that we can do that's a little bit more cost effective to kind of help her, get some extra attention? And the lady was just like, no. And then they were like, well, there's any other ways we could save money? And she was like, how about the mother and father live under one household? And I was like, ooh, the shade. But yeah, yeah, that probably would have been more cost effective, but Ern didn't want to get his life together and keep his family together. So that's not an option for them. And so basically, she tells her, like, this school is horrible. You don't want your daughter to be here. It's really hindering her, not helping her. And then everybody was just like, dang, like, how you just gonna tell them that the school that they have their kid in is bad that you teach at? And so Van asked her, like, if our child wasn't smart, like, would you tell us that the school was horrible? And she was just like, no, I wouldn't tell you that. But she gave like a little reference, like, a pig in a pen, I'm gonna leave the gate open. Basically, if I see that she can excel and she can do more, because their school is plagued with, just low test scores, not enough resources and materials, pretty much the academic that a lot of schools, especially in predominantly African-American communities, are going through. So she was like, I just want to see a child who is gifted excel. And so basically Van and Ern, they leave, they're talking. She's like, hey, aren't you like going away for like 2 months on this tour? And he was like, yeah. And then she was like, well, if we're going to put her in the school, because he said that, well, the money he gets from the tour can pay for Lottie's tuition. And she was just like, you're really going to need to step up as a father and be here more than what you have been. And so, Ern is getting attacked from so many different areas in his life, just trying to get everything together and hold it together. So this whole thing with Van and him being a good father, he got rid of the issue of being a good, can you say boyfriend, or just a good man to Van, but because they broken up, he still has to figure out how can he be a better father and actually be present in Lottie's life consistently. So Ern leaves there, and then he goes to meet Al and Darius, and basically they're moving out of the house, and he hired movers. So first of all, I was confused when he told Al that he had to go get a truck, because I'm just like, what movers did you get if it still requires you to get a truck? That just don't make no sense. And I was just like, I don't feel like these movers are gonna work out. And then of course Ern pull up, he see the movers, and this dude is drinking a 40 out of a paper bag, and I was just like, Ern, like, why do you do the things that you do? Like, moving is not something that you need to skimp out on. Trust me, I have been there. I just moved 2 months ago, and I had people who reeked of alcohol, even though I called to make sure that they were a business that had like proof of insurance and everything. It was just all bad, y'all. It was all bad. And this is another situation of where I feel like, I be wanting to support my own, but sometimes we just don't get it together. And I know y'all don't want to hear that, but it's hard. So I felt Ern when he was going through this with the movers. And so they basically go in. Of course, Darius and Al are on the couch chilling. Darius playing himself in chess. They basically not doing nothing. They're supposed to be packing. Supposed to be packed to move out of the house and packed to go on tour to catch their international flight. And basically they not doing nothing. And so Ern was just like, I know you sell weed and all, so y'all don't have no sense of time. And then Al was like, true. He's like, but can y'all just get this together? Like, dang, like, I have to do everything? And then Darius drops the bombshell that, oh, my passport is expired. So they got to figure out how they can go get his passport renewed within like a couple of hours so they can make their flight. So Al tells him like, hey, Ern, don't you try to be slick. And so we see that as Al was packing, that he found the gold handgun that Ern's uncle gave him in episode 1 of season 2, Alligator Man. So I was like, my bad, I'm gonna take care of it. And so, it's kind of just like, Al was probably like, see, this is exactly what I mean, and this is why you don't know this right now. And then, of course, when we saw him put it in his bag, I was like, Lord, something bad is going to happen about this gun. I just have a feeling they're going to go to the airport and this gun's going to be in his bag and this fool going to get arrested. But we'll get to that a little bit later. So Ern is taking Darius to go get his passport renewed. So he's like, I know a little spot ran by some Jewish people, and they can expedite it and return you with the expedited renewed passport same day. So they go in, and so they go in and talk to the dude. He's like, oh, you guys are like, you know, with rapper Entourage or something like that. And he's like, how do you know? And he's like, well, fool, y'all the only black people in here in this Jewish passport place. And so he was just like, you know, and most rappers procrastinate, so they're always here because we can get stuff done so quickly. And he's like, no offense. And then he's like, none taken. And so they're having a conversation, and between Darius and Ern is like, hey, like, I know that, you know, you're all about this being at peace with everything that's happening, so nothing really bothers you, but I feel like my entire world is just blowing up. And so he asked him, like, well, how are you doing? And he was just like, is Al gonna fire me? And he was like, I don't know. I do know how Al acts, and basically he wouldn't make a decision until we actually went to Europe to give you a chance to see the world. But I also know Al is the type of person that he's always going to take care of those who took care of him. And Aaron was like, I don't need no handouts. Like, I need to provide. I have a family. I need to provide as well. And so, you know, he was just telling him, they had an interesting conversation, and Darius is telling him that, you know, as black people, we can't fail. We don't have an option for failure, you know? And so Al is trying to make sure, you know, you're learning through this whole managing thing, but you got to fail to learn at the same time. And so it's kind of hard. And, you know, he was just like, I see that you're doing better, and you just got to keep doing what you're doing, but it's up to Al to make that decision. And so it was interesting because the Jewish guy who was helping them behind the counter, Ern asked him, did he know of an entertainment lawyer? And so he was just like, yeah, my cousin does it. His dad does it. That's how he got into it. And so he was just like, can you answer this question honestly? Are the Jewish attorneys, entertainment attorneys, better than the black ones? And everybody looking like, what's his answer's going to be? And he was like, no, they're not any better, but, you know, we just have more connections. And then due to systemic, you know, circumstances, you know, just at the end of the day, we live in a society. It's not how well you do your job, how smart you are, how it really should be. It's who you know and how many favors and connections that you have to get your job done. And so he's basically just saying the Jewish people are in a better position to make those type of connections, to have that type of pull, to get stuff done than African Americans, due to just how society is set up and what we went through in the past, which I just found so interesting that they were talking about all of this, and that the episode is called Crabs in a Barrel, because I was just like, this is some stuff I've just been thinking about just in my own personal life, just even trying to network with people, trying to get this whole, you know, being a black woman who reviews television and movies, and trying to connect with people and seeing how all these other people who just halfway do stuff are just so much further. But you know what, y'all, this is not therapy for me, but look, I've been thinking about this for a good little minute. So all the stuff that they were saying in the episode, like, they were speaking some real truth and dropping some real gems. And so they get the passport. They make it to the airport. And so basically, Ern got this gun in his pocket, okay? And so they run into the manager and Clark, and so they all in line going through the TSA check. And so Ern opens his bag to take the stuff out, and he sees the gun, this dummy, okay? So Ern, a little slick behind, takes the gun, puts it in Clark's bag. He asks Clark, he's like, hey, can you hand me another bin? And then Clark's like, yeah, sure. So he slides the gun in the bag. And so, you know, we thinking that, like, oh, okay, so he had to make a decision. Was he going to be the good guy and be honest and then take the blame for the gun, end up in jail, basically end up being fired, not being able to go on a European tour, like just having his whole world blown up even more than what he feels so already. And so he has to make a decision, and he has to look out for himself and put himself first. So that's why he puts the gun in Clark's bag. Also, too, if he puts it in Clark's bag and Clark gets caught, then Clark can't go on the tour, and then Al will have to headline it. I'm just assuming that this is his logic, his thinking, and such the quick seconds that he had to make a decision. But yeah, so he keeps going. And can we get on Darius, talk about this opt-out? Because I was looking like, sir, why are you making these large outbursts in the middle of the airport? It was too much, but it was still funny. And did y'all catch that Benny Hope t-shirt that he had on? But yes, back to Ern. So they get on the plane, and so Ern is talking to Al, and Al basically tells him, like, look, you're my family, okay? I understand what you're trying to do and you're trying to help me. And I know that you actually care about me. And I feel like Al is kind of coming to grips that his life is changing, as Darius said in the episode earlier, and that he has to have people around him that can do the job, but that also genuinely has his best interest at heart, okay? And so he basically just tells him, like, I saw what you did, and you had to make a decision. This is what I'm telling you about. So you're going to have to make a decision, and you're going to have to look out for yourself. And when people do stuff that might be messed up towards you, they're looking out for themselves. They're taking care of themselves first. It's just life, okay? And so we see that, okay, so he's going to keep them on, and all is well, okay? There's one less thing for Earn to have to deal with, and it seems that him and Al are finally cool. So all of a sudden, we see Clark pop up on a plane, and then Al is like, yo, where your manager? And he was like, oh, he got caught up in some mess. And they're like, what? And then he's like, he had something in his bag. The cops came and got him and took him away. And then he was like, oh, Darius like, oh, well, you probably had like a screwdriver or something. He's like, no, it was like a gold handgun. I wish it was mine. And so we was like, hold up. So Earn tells Al, like, hey, I put that gun in Clark's bag, not the manager's bag. And so I'm thinking, like, is Clark on some other stuff? And then also, too, does he know that that's what Earn did? And did he just have his manager take the rap for him? Or was he being slick? I don't know, but something not right about him, y'all. Something is not right about him. But that's pretty much where the whole thing, like, ended off. I love that they did like a throwback to the old couch when they were sitting waiting for the Uber to come pick them up and take them to the airport when they were just chilling and jumping around. I thought that was super cool. You can see that, you know, it's not winter no more, so Robin season is over. I'm interested to know like what their theme for next season is going to be. Now for me, I like this season. Now there were a couple of episodes they could just throw it right in the trash and I would have thought nothing about it, but I felt even with those episodes, overall the season was still good because I love their approach of focusing on each character separately, kind of giving them their own episodes to kind of star in. And I felt as though since every episode didn't tie in together, even when you had those trash episodes, it didn't ruin the flow of, you know, how everything was balancing out. So for me, I thought season 2 was pretty good. I was pretty excited about it. You had Teddy Perkins, you had Alligator Man, you had the barbershop episode. They had some good episodes. If they don't get an Emmy for Teddy Perkins, if Brian doesn't get nominated, at least for the Woods episode, we should be seeing multiple nominations for the cast. I mean, especially Donald, Brian, and maybe Darius. I don't know. I want to see them do more with Van's character and give her a little bit more to do and kind of give more women just better roles and not just these stereotypical type of characters outside of what Van's character is. And so I'm excited to see if there's going to be a season 3. I know that all of the characters are kind of doing their own movies now. We had Zazie, she was in Deadpool. We got Brian coming up in Hotel Artemis. Lakeith's in Sorry to Bother You, and Donald in Solo, A Star Wars Story. So they're all doing a lot of things on their own. They're blowing up. I'm excited to see their success on the big screen, but I do want to make sure that they have enough time to come back for season 3 and that it's not going to be a super long wait. But it's been so fun chatting with you guys throughout this season 2. I cannot wait to figure out what's the next TV show I want to do. Right now I'm finishing up Handmaid's Tale, but I think I'm going to take a break on TV shows and I'll start back up when Power comes back in July. But those are my thoughts on Atlanta season 2 episode 11, Crabs in a Barrel. My name is Sharana from Pay Your Weight, and if you like what you saw today, make sure you hit the like button, hit subscribe, share this video with your friends, and I will see you soon.